Hey everyone, how's it going? Today we're going to be talking about the Razer DeathAdder V3 Pro. And forgive me if I sound a little sick, I'm a little under the weather, but with the new Razer Viper Pro around the corner, I know it's an ambi mouse, but I know there's going to be a lot of new eyes on the market looking for mice, and I wanted to talk about this mouse, which is awesome, of course, if you know about it. If you don't, it's 64 grams, which is super lightweight. It's an ergonomic mouse. You can tell it's designed for the right hand. And this one is white specifically. The coating on it is great. I believe the white color is a gram or two heavier than the black color just because of the coating that they use or the paint process or something. I'm not really sure. It doesn't have RGB, not a huge deal because the RGB, you're using the mouse, you know what I mean? It's in your hand. RGB on your computer looks cool because I can see it over there. This is not a big deal. Feels good in hand, is an awesome shape. We'll talk more about that in just a second here. And it comes with these grips for free, which, at $150, it's a lot for a mouse, yes. But I haven't gotten grips for free before from anybody else, so this was a nice change. I tried them, and I really liked them, and I kept them on. So I've been using this mouse, like I said, for the past couple of months, and it's been great. I do have a couple of quirks with it. Couple of problems. I'm pointing at you, mouse, because yes, you are the issue sometimes, but not all the time. This is an awesome mouse, and I gotta say, recently it's my favorite ergonomic mouse on the market. So to give you some context, I have some pretty large hands. I may have mentioned that before. I may have not. I shot this video a couple of times just because I've been fucking it up, honestly. But here we are. Got some pretty big hands. I'll put the specs in the description below for my damn hands. But I started with like a G502, right? Everyone started with the G502 back in the day, or the old school DeathAdder. From there, I bought a bunch of different mice and ended up figuring out that I liked ergonomic mice. So I ended up with the G703 after a long while. And that shape for that mouse, if, I'll put up a comparison picture, boom, on the left side here so that you can see it. The shape of the G703, it has a fatter ass. It has a more pronounced hump towards the back if you want to be, technical here. And it has more of a flare on the right side. So the mouse I was using most recently prior to the DeathAdder V3 was the Pulsar xlite V2 wireless. Awesome, lightweight, ergonomic mouse. However, this mouse more closely resembles the EC2, or rather the EC series overall from Zowie. And what I mean specifically is it lacks flare in the top right corner here and has a way less pronounced butt. The hump is way less pronounced on this EC type mouse. You can see it even slopes much more quicker. And if you're ever looking for a more specific diagram of what these shapes look like, there's Elo Shapes, which is a great website. You can compare many mice, and of course I might even just toss them in here. But the main reason I wanted to switch to the Pulsar from the G703 because of the weight. The G703 is a heavier mouse in today's time, right? A lot of people still use it, it's a great and legendary shape, but there are more lightweight mice, and there are more mice with technical advantages and capabilities that, just beat them hands down. So, with that said, Razer DeathAdder V3, reason I like this mouse a lot, it has a bit more of that right side flare, is lacking a bit in the booty department compared to the G703, and I'm telling you, if Logitech ever makes a G703 super light, we are all screwed and we're going to go broke because that thing will sell out. But great mouse overall. $150, 64 grams, a lot of good stuff. I do have a couple of things about it that I will mention right now. One thing is the optical switches in the mouse. Fantastic feeling on the left and right click. Pretty good on the scroll, but my biggest issue is that I live in a household with dogs and cats. Whatever. A lot of you probably do. My theory and what I've heard from other people and what customer support has advised me to do that's worked, is that dust or, animal hair or whatever floating through the air may have gotten onto the sensor in the mouse. So what this means is that when I'm playing the game, I'm running around and I'm shooting stuff, it will randomly scroll to a different weapon in the middle of my shot. It only happens when I'm applying pressure with either of the buttons that this middle one gets actuated as well. Not exactly sure what happens, and the advice that I got from support and from other people that I've asked is to just blow it out with compressed air. And so I did, and it fixed the problem for a bit. But it wasn't a permanent solution. I will say it's been like a week or two since it's happened to me, but I've also not been playing as many games super recently, so who the heck knows. Definitely a pain in the butt and something that should, be fixed somehow. I don't know. I'm not an engineer. I don't know how you would do it, but yeah. And I've heard stories of people with their Vipers as well having this sort of issue and then eventually getting to the point where the compressed air no longer helps. So, do with that information what you will. But yeah, that's pretty much the only gripe I've had. It's a technical defect, I'm assuming. And, one thing I wanted to mention is that you may have noticed that the feet on this are not stock. I've put super glides on them. I love super glides. I was using them on this previous xlite V2. And, I gotta say, there's a lot of commotion on the internet about super glides and people not liking them getting muddy after a while. I do believe that they're great, and I've been loving them on this mouse. I'm currently Immortal 2 in Valorant, and been having a great time playing tac shooters, Quake, playing Call of Duty, really anything with this mouse and these feet, and have been having a great time. So, overall, I hope that was helpful. I just wanted to put this out there because I know a couple of people on Reddit and other places have commented on my weird grip style and, hand sizes and my preference for mice, and said that they've shared the same interest. So I'm doing this for them and for anyone that might be interested in learning more about this mouse and might be considering picking it up because, yes, it is expensive at $150, and Razer does seem to be upping the ante. Overall with their mice. I believe the new Viper Pro is going to be pretty pricey and come in a couple different price ranges. So, just it's important to be informed. Another thing I wanted to mention that I did leave out is I'm using this mouse with the hyperpolling dongle over here. You do have to buy this dongle separately, and what it does ultimately, and if you're not familiar with polling rate is basically the response time from your mouse's input to your computer, right? How often does it refresh? And so standard is pretty much 1,000 hertz. This bad boy can enable your mouse, and of course the sensor on the DeathAdder V3 can enable your mouse to play at 2K hertz and 4K hertz polling rate. So that's 4,000 times per second. What does that mean? It means a more smooth and ultimately more precise reading of what your hand and the sensor are doing on your pad. So what I will say is that the 4K setting does have a noticeable impact on your CPU, meaning that if you're running on a lower spec PC, running at 4K polling rate, probably not that important for you, because I will say the feeling of running at 4K and the ultimate effect of running at 4K polling rate is not that noticeable. I will say from my tests and from like multiple sessions of just using 4K polling rate or just using 1K, just using 2K, I can't tell you if this is a placebo or not. It did feel like I was hitting more shots with the 4K polling hertz mouse, but I could not tell you the difference in moving my mouse around or in actually playing the game that playing at 4K would have versus 1K. All in all, I couldn't really tell you if there was that much of a difference between this 4K polling rate and the 1K or the 2K, but I just leave it at 4K and hope for the best. It does have a pretty noticeable impact on your battery life as well, but if you're charging this thing like every day or every 2 days, you're going to be fine. I don't know how much y'all are playing, but that's the cadence that I have to charge this thing at. So, just keep it in mind. $150. The dongle is separate. I believe it's like $40 or $20 or something like that. Not that expensive, but really not that much of an upgrade either. So, mouse overall, awesome. Does have a couple of flaws that I hope get addressed somehow, some way. I'm not really sure, but it would suck if this scroll wheel stopped working on me. So, you know, I'm just kind of worried about that in the future, but overall, I've been using it every day. This is my daily driver, and until the Logitech G703 Superlight's released, I can't see myself really using anything else. I have tried a ton of mice before, and I've tried ambis, I've tried ergos, really anything you name, I've probably tried it, and this is where I've landed. So hopefully this was helpful for you. And yeah, I'll see you guys around, and I'll be back with a probably mouse pad review for the Hayate Atsu sometime soon, probably another mouse feet review, and maybe we'll talk about the xlite V2 wireless in a different video as well. But you know, let me know if there's anything else you want to see, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.